guys! This week we have a very special video with a very special guest. It's none other than the AnyTuber Opalescent. I'm really glad to have her here on my channel for this collab. Both me and her will be giving you movie suggestions that remind ourselves of Ghibli films, since both of us are big fans of the studio. Let's get started!
Hi, I'm Opalescent, someone who's new to the AnyTube community but not at all new to loving Studio Ghibli movies, and I'm here to talk about some anime movies you should watch if you also love Studio Ghibli. I figured that the best place to start would be to recommend one that is similar to Whisper of the Heart, my all-time favorite Ghibli film. In case you haven't seen it, it's a coming-of-age, slice-of-life type story about a young girl who wants to be a novelist meeting a boy who wants to be a violin maker. But the thing is, it's about so much more. I love this movie most as a writer myself who relates to the ups and downs of novel writing as represented in the main character's journey, but anyone who's ever been a teenager afraid to venture into adulthood will also relate to her struggles. That's where Tomiko love story comes in. The protagonist, Tomiko, is another teenager close to graduation and works for her family's dumpling business. She has no particular goals in mind for her future, which only makes it hurt more when her close friends seem to have it all together. On top of all that, her childhood buddy just confessed his feelings for her, making things very awkward. Now, a quick thing I want to point out is that Tomiko Love Story is a spin-off to a series, Tomiko Market, which I haven't seen, but the movie stands really well on its own because there's nothing you really have to know before watching it. Well, actually, for the first 5 minutes I was like, what? But yeah, the first little bit of this movie means absolutely nothing. You can just skip it if you want. Although Tomiko Love Story has the cutesy and comedic vibes you'd expect from a Kyoto Animation anime, and like most Ghibli films, Whisper of the Heart is much more melancholic, I still see a lot of similarities between the two, and I'm confident that if you liked one, you'll also enjoy the other.
The movie that I will recommend first is a movie I already discussed on my channel, Night on the Galactic Railroad. It's a story about a blue cat named Giovanni and his best friend Campanella enrolling in this crazy adventure on a train that goes through the Milky Way, into an unknown destination we only get to find out at the end of the movie. It's definitely a sad story, but it reminds us of the meaning of friendship and makes us question death and what comes after it. This movie reminds me of cute Ghibli mascots, and it definitely makes me think of Cat Returns, since it has loads of cute cats. Cat Returns is about a girl who saves a cat from being run over by a car, and later finds out that he is a prince in a cat world. She goes into the world of cats after following this big grumpy cat, and we get to see the adventures she goes through in the cat world since the prince wants to marry her, but she isn't a cat and doesn't really want to marry one. While in the Ghibli films, cats have this sort of relationship with humans, on Night on the Galactic Railroad, the cats are the main characters, while the humans are just passengers and are there to symbolize something or get past a message on the movie. Night on the Galactic Railroad also has a much darker topic than most Ghibli movies, but it looks adorable and well animated, and the landscapes and characters give me a lot of Ghibli movie vibes.
Next up, I'll recommend something so Ghibli-like I wouldn't be surprised if someone told me it was inspired by My Neighbor Totoro, A Letter to Momo. Like I pretty much just said, this movie is comparable to My Neighbor Totoro, one of, if not the most well-known Studio Ghibli film, about two sisters who move with their dad to the middle of nowhere so that their bedridden mother can become well, and soon discover that some interesting creatures live nearby. A complaint I sometimes hear about Ghibli films is that their characters aren't relatable because they aren't as afraid of the supernatural creatures they encounter as they should be, and you'll find that issue is missing from A Letter to Momo. To be clear, the kids in My Neighbor Totoro may be mostly carefree, but it's a very scary experience to have someone you care about constantly sick in the hospital, and it's made pretty clear at one point that they're both hurting inside. Momo is hurting too, but in a much more amplified, intense way because one of her parents has just died, and right after she had an argument with him. She bottles up all of her feelings and blames her mother, but really herself, for all the terrible things that have happened. Everything changes though when she starts noticing three certain annoying monsters that no one else apparently can see following her around, and just like in My Neighbor Totoro, they begin to have an impact on her life. I won't say anything more because I really want you to watch this movie.
Next, we have none other than Mary and the Witch's Flower. This movie gives me a lot of Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service feels. Mary reminds me a lot of Kiki since they are both young protagonists and are both witches. While Kiki's Delivery Service is a story of a little girl moving alone to the city to become a witch, Mary and the Witch's Flower is about Mary following a strange cat into a forest and finding out a broom and a magical flower that only blooms once in 7 years in that specific forest, and the adventures that follow after she finds out this magical flower. Both of the movies seem to have this message that young girls are capable of doing whatever they put their heart into and are capable of much bigger things than what they think. Both Mary and Kiki are courageous protagonists who are very charismatic and magical, so if you like Kiki's livery service, you will absolutely adore Mary and the Witch's Flower by Studio Ponok. Also, both of the movies have pretty cute black cats, so what's not to like about that?
When Marnie Was There is a Ghibli film that frankly does not get the love it deserves. Sure, it's popular just for being from Studio Ghibli, but I feel like not enough people talk about the story for what it is. Anna, the protagonist, feels isolated from her family and from others her age and struggles a lot with self-hatred, something I wish was represented more in films about teenagers since it's unfortunately a common thing. When she's sent to stay in the countryside with relatives because of her asthma, she doesn't see how anything good could happen. But nearby is a mysterious, seemingly abandoned mansion, and her love for drawing brings her close enough to notice that the mansion may not be so abandoned after all. For my final recommendation, I'd like to tell you about another underrated movie, Anthem of the Heart. The main character Naruse, like Anna from When Marnie Was There, struggles with self-hatred and regret. As a child, she was a chatterbox, but one day she accidentally spills the beans about her father cheating on her mother, tearing her family apart and causing her own mother to resent her for it. From then on, she is unable to speak because, as it is revealed, a mystical egg being has sealed her words away. Sounds a bit weird, but wow, is this movie good. Anthem of the Heart focuses way more on music since it's all about Naruse being forced to participate in a musical, but I noticed plenty of similarities to When Marnie Was There. Both protagonists struggle with their past and their relationship with their parents, both of them meet someone who breaks them out of their shell, and both movies make you question in one way or another what is real and what is not. If you're still not convinced to give Anthem of the Heart a try, it was made by the same people who made Anohana. So yeah, prepare for the feels. That is all from me. I hope you watch and enjoy at least one of these movies that I discussed because I love each of them. Thanks a bunch for having me.
My final suggestion is Hotarubi no Morie. This very short but sweet and emotional movie reminds me of Howl's Moving Castle, since in both movies the main female protagonist finds a very interesting and charming man, and we get to see the adventures that both of them go through together. Howl's Moving Castle is my personal favorite Ghibli movie, since the visuals and the story are so fascinating and engaging. The story of Sophie and Howl helping her get rid of a curse that turned her into an old lady is definitely something worth watching since you get to see them grow romantically and love each other despite their differences. Hotarubi no Morie may be a short movie, but it's such a beautiful story of a girl finding a very mysterious guy with the mask when she was younger, and every summer that she comes to visit that forest, she has a lot of fun with him despite not being able to touch him, since he is a spirit and if he gets touched by humans, he disappears. The romance in these movies are off the roof, and I love to see the relationships in them bloom despite the differences and the troubles they can bring. Both of the movies are amazing, and if you're a sucker for romance like me, you'll definitely love them. Thank you again to Opalescent for being on my channel and helping me with this amazing video. Don't forget to check out her channel, links to both of our social medias and her channel will be in the description, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more, and give a lot of love and support to Opalescent. See you on my next video!